What if I told you that right now, in this exact moment, you are not standing still, not even close? You are sitting on a giant spinning world racing through space at a speed of about 1,000 miles per hour, not in theory, not in imagination, in reality. Every second, you are being carried forward on a planet that is moving faster than a jet, faster than a bullet in some cases, and yet, there is absolutely no feeling of motion, no shaking ground, no rushing wind tearing at your face, no sense of being thrown off, nothing. And that raises a question so strange that most people never truly sit with it. How is that even possible? Because in every experience of speed, there is always a feeling attached to it. A car accelerating presses you into the seat. A train starting makes your body shift. Even a simple ride on a bicycle tells you exactly when you are moving. So why is it different when it comes to the entire Earth? Is it because the motion is too slow for us to feel? Or is it something far deeper, something hidden in the way reality itself works, the way your body interprets motion, and the way the universe quietly hides its greatest movements in plain sight? And here is where it gets even more unsettling. What you call stillness might not actually be stillness at all. It might just be motion so perfectly shared, so completely balanced, that your senses have no way to detect it. Because the truth is, your body is not a perfect measuring instrument. It doesn't show you absolute reality. It only shows you differences, changes, shifts, disturbances. And if everything around you is moving together in perfect harmony, then for you, nothing is moving at all. But that explanation, as simple as it sounds, hides a much deeper layer of physics, perception, and reality itself. A layer where motion and stillness are not opposites, but illusions created by your point of view. So the real question is not just why you can't feel the Earth spinning. The real question is, what else about your reality is hidden from you in the same way? Imagine standing still right now, reading this, feeling completely motionless, as if the world itself is not moving at all. Yet in reality, you are sitting on a giant rotating sphere that is spinning at about 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. The immediate confusion is obvious. If something is moving that fast, why is there no sensation of speed, no wind tearing through everything, no shaking ground, no physical awareness of motion? The answer is not about what you feel, but about what your body is actually capable of detecting. Human senses are not built to measure constant motion. They are built to detect change in motion. If something moves at a steady speed in a straight line or rotates smoothly without sudden variation, your body treats it as if it is not moving at all. That is the first subtle trap of perception. The key idea begins with something simple but deeply counterintuitive. Motion itself is not what we feel. Acceleration is what we feel. If you are in a car moving at a constant speed on a smooth highway, your eyes see the road moving past, but your body feels almost nothing. The moment the car accelerates or brakes, your body immediately reacts. This difference is crucial. On Earth, everything around you is already moving together with you. You, the ground, the buildings, the air, even the oceans are all sharing the same rotational motion. Because there is no internal difference in velocity between you and your surroundings, your senses receive no signal that something unusual is happening. Now consider the scale of this motion. The Earth rotates once every 24 hours. At the equator, this translates to roughly 1,000 miles per hour. That number sounds extreme because we compare it to airplanes or bullets, but speed alone is not what matters. What matters is relative motion. If you are inside a perfectly smooth train moving at high speed and everything inside moves with you, you cannot tell whether you are stationary or moving unless you look outside. The same principle applies to Earth, except on a planetary scale. The entire environment is your train, and it is perfectly smooth in terms of shared motion. The role of gravity is essential here. Gravity is constantly pulling everything toward the center of the Earth, keeping you firmly pressed against the ground. Without gravity, rotation would throw everything outward into space. But gravity is strong enough to counteract the outward tendency caused by rotation. So instead of feeling flung off, you feel grounded. What you interpret as down is actually the direction of gravitational pull, not resistance to motion. Because gravity dominates your sensory experience, it masks the rotational motion entirely. Another hidden factor is the atmosphere. The air you breathe is not stationary while the Earth moves beneath it. It is locked into the same rotational system. atmosphere moves along with the planet due to gravitational binding and frictional interaction over long time scales. This means there is no constant 1000 mph wind rushing past your body. If Earth suddenly started spinning while the atmosphere remained still, everything would be destroyed by supersonic winds. But because the air shares Earth's motion, you exist in a calm relative environment. Your body is not colliding with a moving air mass, it is moving with it. The absence of sensation also comes from how deeply synchronized everything is. Imagine every object in your environment moving together at exactly the same speed and direction. Your brain does not receive contrasting signals. Vision does not detect internal motion unless there is a reference point outside the system. Since most of what you see, buildings, trees, roads, people, is also rotating with Earth, your perception stabilizes the entire scene. Even clouds and weather systems are influenced by Earth's rotation, so they are not independent indicators of absolute motion. There is also an interesting psychological limitation. The human nervous system evolved in an environment where detecting immediate threats was more important than measuring planetary motion. You are sensitive to sudden acceleration, vibrations, impacts, temperature changes, and sound shifts. But long-term steady motion is irrelevant to survival because it does not affect immediate action. Over millions of years, there was no evolutionary pressure to develop a sense for constant planetary rotation, so your body never built a sensor for it. Now consider what would happen if rotation suddenly changed. If Earth's speed increased or decreased rapidly, you would immediately feel it. Objects would shift, oceans would respond, winds would intensify. This is because change breaks symmetry. The nervous system detects imbalance between expected motion and actual motion, but as long as the system remains stable, no imbalance exists, and therefore no sensation arises. The comparison with space makes this even more interesting. Astronauts orbiting Earth experience weightlessness, not because gravity disappears, but because they are in continuous freefall. In contrast, on Earth, gravity and the ground provide constant resistance to motion, creating a sense of stability. In both cases, the brain interprets forces rather than raw motion. What you feel is not speed itself, but the forces acting on your body. Since Earth's rotation does not produce a net force difference in your local environment, it remains invisible to sensation. Another subtle point lies in reference frames. Motion is always relative. There is no universal still state in physics. Everything is defined in relation to something else. When you say Earth is spinning at 1,000 mph, that is measured relative to the planet's axis. But inside that rotating system, everything shares the same frame. Without an external reference outside Earth, there is no internal way to detect that rotation directly. You would need to look at distant stars or external cosmic markers to notice the spin indirectly. Even those external references are not felt physically. They are observed mentally through vision and reasoning, not through bodily sensation. This separation between perception and physical reality is one of the most profound aspects of human experience. Your senses construct a simplified version of reality that prioritizes usefulness over accuracy. Feeling every planetary motion would be overwhelming and unnecessary. There is also the role of inertia. Objects resist changes in motion. This resistance makes everything on Earth naturally continue moving with the planet. Because of inertia, nothing inside your environment lags behind or rushes ahead in a noticeable way. You are embedded in a system where all components already share a unified motion state, so there is no internal friction of experience that would reveal the spin. If you go to the equator, where rotation speed is highest, nothing changes in your perception. Equator is moving faster than most other regions, yet people standing there feel exactly the same stability as anywhere else. This is because what matters is not absolute speed, but relative consistency. Whether you are moving at 1,000 mph or 500 mph along with everything else, your body cannot distinguish the difference without an external reference. The most surprising realization is that feeling motion is not a direct window into reality. It is a constructed interpretation based on differences in force, acceleration, and environmental mismatch. The Earth's rotation is smooth, shared, and hidden inside a synchronized system. There are no internal contrasts strong enough to trigger sensory detection. So your experience of stillness is not an illusion in a simple sense. It is the natural outcome of living inside a perfectly coordinated moving system. And even now, as this is being thought through, the planet continues its silent rotation, the atmosphere continues to follow it, gravity continues to pull everything inward, and all motion remains perfectly balanced in a way that produces no disturbance to the senses, leaving the experience unchanged, steady, continuous, as if nothing at all is happening despite everything moving endlessly through space at extraordinary speed. And when you finally step back from all of this, something very quiet but very powerful becomes clear. You are not standing on a motionless world. You are riding a planet that is constantly in motion, perfectly balanced, perfectly synchronized, and so smoothly moving that your body never gets the signal to notice it. The Earth does not need to announce its speed because everything you depend on, gravity, air, land, and life itself, is already moving with it in perfect unity. So what feels like stillness is actually harmony, a system so well coordinated that motion disappears inside itself. And what you feel as normal life is really a continuous journey through space that never stops, never shakes, and never asks for your permission. This is one of the quiet wonders of existence. Reality does not always present itself in dramatic ways. Sometimes, the most extreme truths are hidden inside the most ordinary feelings. Standing still, breathing calmly, looking around you, these are not signs of absence of motion. They are signs of motion so complete that it becomes invisible. And maybe that is the deeper lesson here. Not just about Earth spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, but about how much of reality exists beyond what your senses can immediately reveal. There is always more happening than what is felt. There is always more beneath what seems obvious. And curiosity is the only tool that lets you uncover it. So carry this question with you beyond this moment, not just about the spinning Earth, but about everything you assume is still simple or fully understood. Because often the universe is not hiding its secrets. It is simply moving so smoothly that you forget to notice them. Good luck exploring those questions, keep thinking deeply, and never stop being curious about the world you are already traveling through. Thank you for being part of this journey.